What's up? Chelsea from Denver asks, can you explain the meaning of the name of your next album, Sky High? Sure. This album is my sophomore album. My first one was entitled 31 Minutes to Take Off. So this is kind of the next step of that. Um, Also, a great majority of the songs on this album were written on airplanes. So I felt that in order for people to really understand this record, when they hear it, they need to know where it came from and where it was conceived. Okay, Stephanie from Meridian, Missouri wants to know, how would you describe your sound? That's a really tough question. I still consider myself kind of a hip hop kid. I grew up listening, a Detroit kid listening to like Jay Dilla and The Roots and Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Outkast, and I kind of tried to write lyrics as a rapper would, and but put really great melodies to them. Um, so that's kind of what made me want to start being an artist in the first place, because I felt that didn't really exist um, 3 years ago when I started singing, and still today. Allison from Omaha, Nebraska wants to know, who are your biggest influences in the music industry? Wow. The question is tough because I think it changes, day to day and week to week for me with whoever I'm really listening to. Some of my artists or some artists that I really look up to, um, are like Outkast is my favorite. Jay Dilla is one of my favorites. Rest in peace. Um, the Killers I love. Um, Nate Dogg. You know, I mentioned a lot of these artists in the last question. The Roots. I grew up listening to those guys every day. So they definitely, play a part in my music, and I try to take elements from all these people and just throw them into one and make my own sound. Stacy from Junction City, Kansas wants to know, what exactly does sex look like? Well, uh, sex can take a few different forms when it's in its visual manifestation, if you will. Um, but I'm sure we've all met somebody that exudes. Maybe they don't look like somebody in a magazine or on the TV, but they just exude, a certain degree of sexiness. So I suppose it could be different, for anyone. Chris from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. What was the first album you ever bought? Tough question. I think it was The Roots. Do You Want More? I believe is the title. Uh, the one with SA Woman, SA Woman. Um, I think that was the first one. Cole from Chico, California. What makes your mixtape released a couple months ago different from your upcoming release? Not a whole lot. For those that don't know, Cole's referring to a free album or a mixtape that I released in November called The Layover, which you can download for free um, on the internet. You can get on my Facebook. But not a whole lot makes it different. I guess I've just been recording and recording since my last record came out, and I wanted to give the people something for free that they could just have and not charge them for it. And I was able to do a lot of remixes and covers that may not have gotten cleared and used for the album. The great thing about mixtapes is that no one gets paid for them. We give them away for free on the internet. So any feature that's on the mixtape, like is special because that person really cares about your music and they didn't get paid for it. So that's one of the fun things about putting mixtapes together. Jesse from Evansville, Indiana, Midwest. What are your favorite things to do when you're not playing music? Uh, playing basketball, and that's pretty much it. Beats, basketballs, and babes. That's my life. Brittany from Tulsa, Oklahoma. The way you blend a hip hop vibe with more of a rock sound is pretty unique. What made you decide to go that route? First of all, thank you. I'm really honored that you say that. I suppose, as I said, like I grew up a really big hip hop fan, and I wanted to kind of thrust the ethos of hip hop and those lyrics, if you will, and that style and that attitude into, you know, a melodic song, which I really felt no one else was doing when I started making music in my dorm room 2 or 3 years ago. So, you know, I want to give the people that something that they don't already have. If I felt I was doing music that already existed, I would have a really hard time being an artist. Next question. Trish from Jackson, Mississippi. Excuse me. She wants to know, who is the most famous person in your cell phone? This is a tough question. Maybe probably Miley Cyrus, probably the most famous person in my cell phone. Not really sure. Danielle from Baltimore, Maryland wants to know, starts out with a statement. I totally think you have white boy swag. Thank you? Question mark. How often do other people tell you that, and how do you react to something like that? I suppose they tell me that fairly often, and I guess you saw me react to it with thank you with a question mark. Amy from Birmingham, Alabama. If you could collaborate with any current artist, who would that be? First of all, my favorite current artist is Big Sean. I think he's like the best rapper right now. But that's my homie, so I've already collaborated with him. So I think, you know, you probably want to know what person I already haven't collaborated with. It's probably a tie between Rick Ross and Young Jeezy. Jackie from Detroit, Michigan. What up, D-Town? Mittens up. She wants to know, what was the first concert you ever went to? The first concert I ever went to, I will never forget. My big sister, what up, M? I love you. She took me to see The Roots, and opening up for The Roots were Dead Prez, Talib Kweli, Slum Village, Dice Raw, the Jazzy Fat Nasties, to name a few. It was an incredible show. I'll never forget. Funny story, one of my second or third concert I went to, my mom, I somehow convinced her to take me to go see Outkast, which I'm so glad I got to do because they stopped touring the next year. I remember watching Outkast and totally rocking out, and people were looking at me because I was a little kid and I knew all the words, and I looked in a row ahead of me, and there were some kids doing some things they probably shouldn't have been doing to enhance their concert experience, if you will. And I look back at my mom, and I see that in the middle of this Outkast concert, in the middle of 20,000 people, she is fast asleep, and I will never forget that image. Gary from Columbus, Georgia. Is it true that David Guetta will be featured on Sky High? No, that's not true. We did some songs together for him, but they won't be on Sky High. Some people that will be on Sky High Pharrell will be on Sky High. Big Sean will be on Sky High. To name a few. I'm not gonna give you all my secrets. Ron from Missoula, Montana. I hope I pronounced that right. If not, I really apologize to the people of Missoula, Montana. What is it like hearing your song on the radio for the first time? It's pretty incredible and unbelievable, man. To know that. Oh, but. Oops. It's pretty incredible and unbelievable, man, not to know that, like a bajillion other people are hearing your song at the same time you are. And it still blows my mind, to this day. So I'm really grateful and thankful to have the support of the DJs and the radio stations, all the program directors, and the people like you. Thank you. Tracy from Wilkes-Barre. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Pennsylvania. She wants to know, what has been your most embarrassing moment on stage? Okay. I haven't had any real moments where I really bombed. Thankfully, recently on my last tour, I was back home in Michigan, and I was doing a show at Grand Rapids, and there's this part of the show where water flies everywhere. I don't want to give away what goes on in my show. It's pretty crazy, but the stage ends up wet. There's water involved. The stage ends up really wet, so it's crazy slippery. And so I was near the end of my show, and I slipped and fell on my butt super hard. But I don't know if it was a hometown crowd, but I don't know. I think people started going even crazier after that happened. So shout outs to Grand Rapids and the whole mitten for holding down your boy. I appreciate you, even when I fell. Next question. Dana from Baton Rouge. What's your least favorite venue you've ever played? Wow. I did a show once. I'm not gonna say where exactly was that, because I don't want to offend the people that had me. I'm really grateful to be booked for any shows. I have people come out. That still blows my mind. But probably my least favorite was in I had to do a state fair once, and it was in a barn, and it smelled like a barn. That wasn't tight at all. That was my least favorite. Next question. What's your favorite song to play live? Oh, sorry. This is from Christina from Orlando, Florida. What's your favorite song to play live? I really love to perform Please Don't Go live. I think maybe it's the most kind of anthemic of the songs I've put out. It's really a blast to perform. Chrissy from Grand Forks, North Dakota. The song you did with Rivers Cuomo at the end of the video is awesome. Will that be on Sky High? This remains to be seen. I've recorded something around 60 to 70 songs for Sky High. And I probably want to get that number to around 80 before I pick what the album will be. So you're right. I think the song is awesome too. Shout out to Rivers Cuomo. Huge fan of him, but I don't know for sure if it's gonna make the record. But a song equal to or better than that will make up. Songs equal to or better than that will make up all Sky High. Jessica from Roanoke, Virginia. Who is your all-time favorite band? Okay, I think everyone's all-time favorite band is probably the Beatles. You know, they gotta be up there for everyone. Also, honorable mentions: Led Zeppelin, incredible. Like the best. They have the best at every instrument. So, like, you know, at every instrument, arguably they have the best person at instrument ever. John Bonham on drums, Robert Plant on vocals, Jimmy Page on guitar. Are you kidding me? These guys are all in one band. John Paul Jones on bass. What? Insane. Also, I mentioned that I also really love the Killers. They're awesome. Kyle from Orlando, Florida wants to know what initially got you interested in music. Man, I remember. Excuse me. Great question. I remember being in 6th grade, and two of my homies and his were Aaron Webster and Ronnie Posey. Uh, we were kicking it one night, like real late at night, and somehow we had like got our hands on these like instrumentals from some of our favorite songs, and so we put those on and we were all like freestyling. I don't remember why we started or why we wanted to rap, but like I remember we all like it was like bling bling era, so like I listened to like Eve and the Rough Riders, and like we loved like, you know, BG and all Cash Money, and you know that stuff was huge at the time. Those were our heroes. Um, so I don't really, that was my first like real musical experience, was like freestyling with them, and I played drums in the band, so I guess that kind of gave me like a bit of legitimate musical bass. Um, After that night though, I remember like they stopped being interested in like trying to freestyle, and I always wanted to like freestyle all the time. Um, and eventually I started making beats, you know, for rappers around, and I wanted to be a producer for a long time, and I would try to sell my beats, and no one would ever like, no like major artist or record label ever wanted to buy my beats, so I started singing on myself. And now I'm doing awesome interviews on Saturday Night Online. Michelle from Burlington, Virginia. Is that Virginia? I think somebody made a typo. Um, as someone that started out recording in their dorm room, you are quite an inspiration and embody the definition of never giving up. Wow, thank you. What advice would you give to someone attempting to follow in your footsteps? First of all, thank you. That means way more than you'll ever realize. You know, to know that I made a difference like that, it truly, truly, truly means a lot to me. To someone, I guess you know, follow your dreams and follow your heart, and make the right decisions based off of, you know, the information that your life has provided you and your family has provided you, um, and don't let anybody tell you no, you know. Monica from Columbus, Georgia. Where is your favorite place you've traveled so far? My favorite place. I think my favorite place is Australia. I love Sydney, Australia. Um, I also love the Philippines a lot, but Australia is really, really great. Tough question though. Nikki from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Where's the most memorable concert you've ever attended? Okay, the best concert I've ever been to is probably to Watch the Throne, Kanye West and Jay-Z. Um, I don't know if that's still going on, but if it is, you should go. It's worth whatever money you have to pay. Incredible, incredible. Um, I also remember going to Bonnaroo and seeing Dave Matthews Band. That was pretty incredible. Um, Seen the Roots a couple times where they've killed it. I've seen the Roots like 7 times. Not exaggerating, 7 times. Uh, man, been got to go to pretty cool shows. Grateful. James from Aberdeen, San Diego. What has been your favorite moment in your career so far? Man, I enjoy every moment. I know that might sound kind of corny, but I'm so grateful and honored to be able to sing and make beats and write songs for a living. You know that is awesome, man, and I owe it all to you guys. So I really appreciate everyone that supported my music. Thank you. Meg from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Is there someplace special you go to help inspire you to write your songs, or do they just come to you randomly? They come to me randomly. I suppose airplanes. I tend to write a lot of them on airplanes, but I don't go on airplanes just to write songs. I usually go there to get somewhere, and then the song ends up being written. But anything can trigger a thought in your head that can be a song. So I think that's the key, is that you have to allow songs to come out of real life, and reflect real life, or else they don't hold any bearing to their audience. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.